This is Target Score Weekly with Joey Slattery and Taylor Allen. Welcome to episode 8 of Target Score Weekly, another big one, Taylor Allen, as we have your cousin Teddy Allen coming on the show today. The CEBL MVP, Teddy Buckets himself, making his Target Score Weekly debut, joining us out in Arizona. So I'm looking forward to that, man. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, I don't think Teddy knows that I've been calling him cousin all season long, so I'll have to break the news to him there. But yeah, I mean, you can't really call yourself a Sea Bears podcast, CEBL podcast, if you don't have the MVP, the face of the Sea Bears himself, Teddy Allen. So super awesome to get him on the show, and yeah, it's going to be a great chat for sure.
Yeah, that's Taylor Allen. I am Joey Slattery. We are your hosts of Target Score Weekly. We had a good episode last week, too. EJ Anasike brought the fire last week, man. That was a fun interview. I've got a ton of feedback on that one. People were absolutely loving that. I also want to shout out one of our listeners, Jean, who messaged me to say that she was downloading all the episodes that she hadn't listened to, which was probably just the one, because she was taking a road trip to Riding Mountain. So shout out to Jean and making sure that Target Score Weekly is her part of her safe ride to a fun time, getting amped up for that. But
nice, that's awesome.
Right? The listenership, the viewership's been awesome. It's I'm kind of sad that we don't have games right now because we don't have people coming up to us anymore in person, but we do appreciate everybody's support. You know, again, like this thing's global, man. We've had listeners in the UK, Ireland, we've got all over the States. I was actually shocked at how many people in the States are listening. We had one from Oregon, Oregon, whatever.
Oh, okay.
Wondering if that has something to do with maybe some rumors of one Sea Bear showing interest in that school I've heard rumbling around.
Oh, Simon Hildebrand. Yeah.
Trying to get a little insight on the EJ Anasike. I bet you it's a scout. That's my theory. But
yeah,
anyway,
maybe.
Whoever's out there in Oregon, welcome aboard the Target Score Weekly podcast.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Well, for those that don't know, in the Winnipeg Free Press this week, my colleague Mike Sawatsky did a piece on Simon and how he was kind of garnering some NCAA interest and whatnot. But he's decided to, to stay home, stay at the U of M. So nice to see the hometown kids stay home. And I mean, on paper, it's kind of like, well, what do you mean? Why wouldn't you want to go NCAA? But then if you take a step back and think about it, I mean, if he went NCAA, he would not be able to play in the CEBL in the summers and whatnot. And also, too, a thing that people don't realize is if you play in the NCAA, you're only allowed so much time. I forget how many hours it is exactly.
It's like 15 or something, 15 or 20. Like, it's not a lot.
Yeah, something like that. Of like, I think it's like practice time or like time with coaches or whatever.
I think it's everything.
Where U Sports, where U Sports, there's no limit on that. So an argument that I've heard coaches from like Carleton and even Kirby and stuff make is to guys that that have the potential to play overseas in Europe for a long time professionally and whatnot. If you go U Sports, you can actually kind of probably develop more as a player during your university career as opposed to going down south to the States. So I think for Simon, as cool as it would be to go to Duck Country in Oregon, I think staying home with the Bisons is a good call for him.
And just for clarification, for those who don't know who Kirby is, he's referring to Kirby Shep, head coach at the University of Manitoba. I agree with you, Taylor. Like, I thought about this. This all happened because of this league, right? Like, he has a great season with the U of M, but then he's, like, thrust into pro basketball with a bunch of guys who have played in the NCAA. So he's going up against NCAA talent. So I understand where the spotlight comes in on him and, that people are, eyes are on him now, right? Like in terms of scouting eyes and university programs, things like that. But here's the thing. If he went to Oregon right now, it wouldn't be a bad decision. It would just be a different avenue for sure. But like here you are going into a program with no prep, right? Like we're talking like NCAA is not, a pickup league. Like here's guys that have been recruited for a long time. There's a specific style that they're going to play. Is he going to fit in? Is he going to start? The thing about U of M is you're going to start, and you have a legacy to kind of protect there too, right? You're going to go back there. The game's going to slow down a lot. I think if anything, this is the year to go back to U of M, see how it you pan out compared to last year, because like we've talked about this before with Simon. I think it's he's going to excel, especially after this experience in pro. But will it will there be like a bit of a step back just because it was so good and the expectations are so high? But I think the game's going to slow down for him a lot, where maybe he does get to the point where he's like, I'm bored, I'm not getting the development at the rate I'd like to after having the pro experience, because by next year he'll have 2 years pro experience, right? But honestly, the Canadian game is underrated in that sense. Like, there's a lot of positives coming in here, and I've said this earlier in episodes of the podcast that I do think there's going to come a time where a U Sports guy gets drafted into the NBA. I don't know if it's Simon, but it's these opportunities through the CEBL that you're getting more eyes with better talent, with guys that are NBA caliber, right? So you can't even get that with the NCAA guys. Like, if you're a scout, because they don't play any NBA guys unless it's maybe like Drew League or something like that, if they're allowed to play in those things. But and that's a little different. I don't consider that the CEBL. Like, where you're in a league playing for a championship, you're traveling. Like, there's a lot of NBA parallels with the CEBL for a kid that's in U Sports playing in there. So I think the U Sports avenue becomes more of a desirable avenue for players here in Canada to stay home, play for your home university or closer to home, see your own country, have a chance to CEBL. Because you got to remember, there's only how many spots, right? Like 20 CEBL spots, and a lot of those guys come back. So really every year there's maybe a couple of spots that open up, right? So it's very high or very hard to get into that realm of the CEBL. So I think this is a good thing for the CEBL, good thing for U Sports, obviously a good thing for the University of Manitoba to get Simon back. So, but it'll be cool to see how that pans out.
I thought I was going to maybe get some NCAA interest, though, considering last week at the Run It Back tournament with the Maples Marauders alumni team, I led the tournament in high fives, good jobs, pats on the back. So I thought maybe, there would be an NCAA team out there looking for a 15th man, or even a 12th man if you want to upgrade me to that, someone who wave the towel, lead the huddle and sit on the bench, keep it warm for all the boys. But my mailbox just checked this morning, still nothing. But that's okay, because Maples, we won our division.
Good for you.
All-Stars division. Yep. I had nothing to do with it. I played like 2 shifts a game and just sat there, watched all the young guys do their thing. But no, it was cool, and it's a really well-run tournament and whatnot. And it was fun to see all these familiar faces play at their old high schools and stuff. There was a Legends division that had mostly university players and whatnot, and we were in the All-Stars division because we had a good team, but not quite at that level. But we were also kind of too good for the All-Stars division too, so we kind of didn't really have a good fit for us. But hey, whatever, we won, got a cool T-shirt out of the deal, so life is good.
What was your average playing time?
Oh man, well, when it came to playoffs, it got chopped quite a bit, but probably around 8 to 10 minutes a game. But those 8 to 10 minutes, I'd make them count, man. I would be hustling. I'd be diving for loose balls. I'd be rebounding. I'd be fouling.
Taylor Allen,
technical foul, so it was great.
Taylor Allen, cousin of Teddy Allen, free agent. Doesn't even need a jersey. Just give him a warm-up top and a towel. He'll be there for the boys.
I'm good to
free
go.
Free agent, Taylor Allen. There he is, everybody.
Let's go.
He's ready for it.
Speaking of being a free agent, though, this could be a perfect segue. I feel bad last week. Obviously some new career news, some new life news for you, Joey Slattery. We didn't get a chance to talk about it, so the floor is yours if you want to go down that road.
Yeah, I don't like to talk about myself much, but yeah, you're right. I don't work for CTV anymore. Yeah, I resigned in my position at CTV. I was sports director there for 3 years. For a one-man sports department. It was a lot of fun, though. I had a lot of great memories. We covered the Grey Cup together. I remember Hamilton being the one that we had the most fun for sure. But yeah, 2 Grey Cups. Got to cover the Bombers, the Jets, ton of amateur sports. Like, that was one of the things I really kind of enjoyed of the job. And I think you and I have talked about this, right? Like, I think a lot of people think, and it is fun. Like, we're not saying that, don't mean to sound ungrateful. Like, it is an awesome opportunity to cover NHL teams and CFL teams. But, some of the best stories you cover are those that are up and coming, right? The amateur athletes that are making a run, getting the exposure maybe for the first time in a lot of cases, and just some great stories. And I met a lot of great athletes along the way, a lot of great coaches, people in the community. It's a big reason why I love Winnipeg and I want to stay. But yes, I am a free agent as of right now. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably saw my unemployment adventures. They're going great. But yeah, no, I just wanted to do some freelancing, kind of expand my role a little bit. This has been a big, actually, how would I put it, motivator, I guess, too, in that decision. I had a lot of fun doing the sidelines in the CEBL. I want to do more of that stuff. That was something I wasn't really able to do with CTV. And this podcast has been a ton of fun. So I guess I'm a full-time Target Score Weekly employee. which is why we need sponsors, because I need to eat. But no, it's been good, man. So yeah, like this is what I want to do more of. I'm still young enough in my heart, and I wanted to take on a big change, and this was the time to do it. So yeah, I'm very appreciative of the 10 plus years I had at CTV. It took me across the country. It brought me to Winnipeg, and that's where I met Taylor Allen, and we have a podcast now. So well worth it right there alone.
Wow, that's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. Thank you.
Anyone? Dude, then you got to work on your relationships.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Well, top 10. We'll put it top 10.
I'll take top 10.
But, on behalf of, all Winnipeg sports fans, like, seriously, like, we're very lucky that you came to our city. You did a hell of a job. You're definitely going to be missed, but I think we're all really excited to see what's next for you, my friend. So job well done, but we know bigger things are ahead for you as well, so...
Appreciate that, Taylor, very much. I'm looking forward to it. But big things happened over the weekend. Promised you a recap. I know the Sea Bears weren't involved, but Championship Weekend happened. Man, incredibly entertaining semifinals, I have to say. Vancouver almost pulled one off.
Thank God they didn't, though. Thank God they didn't.
I have to agree.
Let's be honest.
Nothing against Vancouver. In fact, I think they were an underperforming team, but that's exactly why they shouldn't have been there. They got the bye because they were hosting. And then you saw kind of what the hype was about this team earlier in the season, giving Calgary a run for their money. Who was out without Simi Shitu, who is a phenomenal player, and I think that might have been the difference in this whole weekend. They got through. Scarborough, though, buddy, Scarborough, the third team, took the long route to get to the final. They have to beat Ottawa, who is one of my favorite teams to watch this year. They were top of the East almost all season till the end, kind of like Winnipeg. Same kind of deal. They were floating at the top of they were top of the whole league for a while, and then they fell to the second place, having to play in that play-in game, and they get stunned at home by Scarborough, who was making a return. They were in the finals last year. They lost by a basket. They lost by 2 points a year ago in the finals. So that was a hungry team taking advantage of their opportunity. Then they get through Niagara. Like, Niagara's another good team. I could not have called Scarborough going 2-0 into the final for sure. That was not my team. I thought Niagara was poised, maybe even Ottawa. I thought, just because Niagara would have the rest and, more planning time. But I was shocked with Scarborough, and Calgary getting through Vancouver, not as much of a shock, maybe more shocking the way it happened, that it was so close. But what were your thoughts before we get to the final game? Those semifinal games, what were your thoughts on those?
Well, I just want to say about Scarborough, the fact that they won it all after losing J. Cole in the offseason. I didn't think they'd be able to recover from that. I thought they were toast. So props to them, because what a recovery. But, the semifinal, I only caught the Calgary, Vancouver game, sorry. And, that went down to the wire. Like, Vancouver, honestly, should have won that one. They just some sloppy passes at the end there. They had a chance to score the game-winning basket, and they threw a kind of a long pass. The guy was open for a breakaway. Sorry, I can't even speak right now. Guy was open for a breakaway. They throw it out of bounds. That cost them the chance to get that and win the game. But like I said, I was sitting there watching this game. I'm like, man, I really want Vancouver to lose this one. Nothing against Vancouver, nothing against the Bandits, but I just think for the league itself, it would not look good that this team with the losing record that only got there because they were the hosts.
Calgary, right? Like, Calgary was the best team in the West. At the end of the day, like, it was a bit of a slower start, but the standings, in my opinion, in the Western Conference reflected the best teams down. Right, like, to see the last place team beat that first place team, the way that they had to win out those games to beat Winnipeg for that spot in the first place, because they were very close to playing Edmonton in that play-in game. Dare I say the basketball gods got involved a little bit, Taylor?
Let's hope they did, for sure. But I think honestly my biggest takeaway, though, from watching the weekend was, as great as it was, I couldn't help but think that this is going to be so much better when this comes to Winnipeg. I mean, there was a decent turnout there and a decent atmosphere. It looked like and whatnot, but if this was in Winnipeg, you just know it would be sold out or close to it. The place would be rocking. It'd feel like a March Madness or an NBA playoff atmosphere or whatever. But Vancouver is just kind of like, okay, this is a Canadian Basketball League's playoffs, and here we go. Just didn't have that big time vibe to it, which I think was disappointing because the league had so much growth this year. Lots to be excited about, but just kind of ended on a bit of a whimper, in my opinion.
So I'm going to say, yeah, I had a few messages about that in terms of the atmosphere didn't seem as big as championship weekend should be. I think it's time, I think, again, I am under the impression that this has to be just, a formality at this point, the bidding process. Like, Winnipeg should get it. They proved it. The fans came out to games all season. They want this. But I think after that, just do away with it, man. Go to like a best of 3 for the finals where the home teams can support, the home fans can support their home teams in the finals. I think that's the way to go about it. But no, it's, for the people that did show out, it was, it was good basketball. So people got to enjoy some good basketball. The final, Calgary, Scarborough, Simi Shitu not there. Calgary out of sorts from the start. Just weren't clicking that day. They got off to a good start. I think they were up like 10-0 or whatever it was. It seemed like Calgary was about to run away with it. But then the second quarter comes around. Scarborough built a little momentum at the end of the first and then ran away from the second on. Jordy Shemanga, he had like 8 points in the first quarter. He only had 6 minutes of playing time, and he had 10 points from the first quarter and the start of the second quarter. He ended with 50, right? Like, once they figured it out, they just had to like shut him down. And I thought for sure like Ruggsy Miller-Moore was going to pick up. Like, I even tweeted it out while the game was happening. Like, there's no way, I can't see a world where these guys, Steph Smith and Ruggsy Miller-Moore don't go on a run. And they really didn't. Like, their numbers, 10 points, 6 rebounds for Ruggsy Miller-Moore, 2 assists. Steph Smith, 14 points, 3 boards, 5 assists. Like, those aren't championship numbers, in my opinion. Like, not with that team, not without Simi Shitu. Someone needed to step up, and no one really did. But on the other side, you've got Scarborough. Man, Isaiah Mike, the MVP of the finals. Like, wow, like, what a game that guy had. Like, he was all over the floor. 22 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists. He was a rebound and 3 assists away from a triple-double in the finals. Like, that was a team that wanted redemption from the year before. Cat Barber, what a guy to put on the final 2, the last 2 points. 23 points for him, 2 boards, 5 assists. But, a guy that was there last year, and those guys went through it, man. They had to go through it all year for 12 months. Thinking about that 2-point loss, and man, when it came to it, they found themselves down. You could just like sense it. It was like this. No, not again. And it was a Kyrie Walker, another guy, 17-4. That was the big 3 for me. Scarborough earned it, man. Like, long way, 3rd place in the East, had to beat the top teams, literally 2nd and 1st in the East, and then the 1st in the West from the regular season to win it. Hats off to Scarborough.
Scarborough, coming from the 3 seed, taking a long way there, winning it. Awesome story. Good for them, especially after the way they came so close last year. But on that note, though, is it time for Teddy?
It's time for Teddy, the CEBL MVP, Teddy Buckets Allen, on Target Score Weekly right now. Now we have the CEBL MVP, Teddy Allen. Most of you might know him as Teddy Buckets. There was plenty of signs throughout Winnipeg this year. Joining Target Score Weekly for the first time. Welcome to the show, and thanks for making the time, Teddy. This is awesome.
What's up, y'all? Yeah, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
So I have to, MVP season, man. When we first talked, our very first interview, I asked you what you wanted to prove in this league when you were playing here, and you said, I want to dominate. I feel like I can dominate. Mm-hmm. I think it's safe to say you dominated. Yeah. Second in scoring, league MVP. You really helped drive a culture here in Winnipeg. I mean, how does it feel? I know it's a team game, and you've preached that, all season, but to get that recognition as the best player in the CEBL in a year that really seems to put the league at a next level, how does it feel?
I think it's, it's a testament to the team, really. We had a great year, and, when the team has a great year, guys get recognized. Obviously, I feel like I'm an MVP everywhere I go, so try to do that. And luckily, with the great team that we had, I was able to get that award. Couldn't have done it without just like coaches believing in me, teammates allowing me to play my game.
Did I see David Asper? He flew you guys on a private jet to Vancouver for that. Take us through that, man. That looked pretty awesome.
Yeah, David, he's big time, man. He offered us the jet. He knew I was gonna need some enticing to want to go. He offered me the jet, and I said, man, I ain't gonna say no to that.
You needed some enticing to go get your MVP award?
I I mean, I'll be trying to train, man. Like, if I'm not playing, why do I want to go? You know, it's like
Yeah, fair.
they want me to come to the CBL game too, the All Star game, and it's like, why? Like, I'm trying to train. Like, I'm trying to get better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Now
well, on
looking at
that note, though, training. I mean, also, the season's over, but you got another season you're preparing for. So I know off the air we talked about this a little bit, but what's next for Teddy Allen? Do you know where you're going to be in this fall, or what are you working towards right now?
Yeah, like I told you guys, me and my agents we got to narrow down between like 2, 3 contracts. You know, trying to choose what's going to be the best situation for me because we think that plays a big role in the success that I have. Obviously, like you want to know what they think of you heading in. So we're just trying to get all the best details we can and make the best decisions for me. Luckily, God blessed me to have a great year, so opportunities are great. So I just want to figure out which one is the right one.
I have a two-part question with this. You know, the difficulty in that, right? Like, this is a quick turnaround because you finish one season to go to a summer season, and then you're going back to like a full season. You know, we asked Jelani about that, and one of the things he said was, you know, it's mentally tiring, right? Because then not only that, like you guys are also playing all over the world. Like, so there's guys coming in from different time zones. Like we had EJ on the show last week playing in Lagos, Nigeria. 7-hour difference from Winnipeg. So I guess, you know, the two things, the challenges of trying to figure out contracts, get your body ready for that in such a short period of time, but also riding the momentum of this year. I mean, you're the CEBL MVP, like you're coming off a huge high. So how much does that play a factor into your decision in terms of maybe the opportunities that came out of it?
I think, you know, it plays a large factor because it's proven that depending on whatever the team sees for me, it could determine how I play. Well, not really how I play, but what they get out of me, I should say. And me personally, like I feel like this year showed mostly that you don't have to put me in that box. Like I've always been, you know, a best player on the team, leading scorer on the team, but have I really been like given the keys as a leader of the team? Not really. So I feel like this shows that you don't have to put me in the box. I'm capable of leading the team and capable of doing it while being myself. And I feel like I can bring that to other organizations and have a lot of special journeys and just touch a lot of people that way.
You think you're an NBA talent, Teddy?
Oh, undoubtedly. I've been an NBA talent. But being in the NBA is not all about basketball.
So expand on that. Like what has to be done, I guess, like, you know, to get to that step, I guess.
Well, like outside of being like, you know, you're a lottery pick when you're after one and done, which that started when you were in junior high.
Mm-hmm.
And that's mostly based off mold. That's because they're 6'7", 7-foot wingspan. They're basing it all off potential. But as you get older in college, they're basing it more off of like character and what they think of you. And you know my story. I've transferred around a lot, and like I talked about with you, Taylor, like tall tales happen. And obviously, there's been things where you know I wasn't the best, but everybody is. You know, I grow up, you live and you learn. And I feel like I'm a better person for everything I went through. And coming out in the draft, I feel like that really hurt me. You know, just my story, my path. Like, obviously he can play, but I'm not going to come in the league and be LeBron James. So why do they need me if they think I don't check a certain box? So I feel like I just continue to just destroy everywhere I go, you know, which is going to continue to happen and just continue to be who I am. And I feel like eventually they'll realize that I've grown as a person and I'm ready for it.
Well, Teddy, what did this summer in Winnipeg mean to you? I mean, like you said, this was kind of your first time really being the face of the team, you know, having the whole, you know, thing built around you, and obviously you excelled, and this is an expansion team, right? Like you guys got to mold it into what it was. So just what did this summer, what this opportunity mean to you in your career, do you think?
I think first of all, just shout out to Winnipeg because they were great, best fans in CBL. But I think it just, like I said, it just showed. I mean, because obviously, like for the NBA, for instance, like I wouldn't be like the go-to guy, the number one guy. But I think it just showed like you can bring me in to an organization that is impressionable, that needs molding or needs leadership, and you can thrive. Because one thing about me is like I'm real, and another thing is I love to hoop, and I think that rubs off on other people, and guys respect that. Like at the end of the year, I had a lot of my teammates. This usually happens. They just come up to me like, "Man, I really respect how how you carry yourself, how you move. Like you're the same person every day. Like if you play bad, you play good. You miss a shot, you don't. You get yelled at, you don't. Same stuff. And I just feel like that's what I bring to the table. That comes from how I was raised. It comes from what I've been through, and I just feel like aside from the fact that I feel like I'm a special basketball player, I also feel like I'm a special person that I just have the ability to touch people just by being myself.
The other thing too, and we've talked about this on the podcast throughout the season, we talk a lot about your offense, and you said that, right? Like leading scorer and all that, and it's great. But I thought one of the things that were undervalued was what you did defensively this year, right?
Yeah.
Like you forced a lot of turnovers that turned into fast break points. And, one of the knocks on this team for a while was establishing that transition. And so when we talk, like, one of the things I said too is alluding to what you said, it's like, it's not a LeBron James thing at the NBA. It comes down to those little things. Like, can a guy, play a role to help a team win? And even though you were the leading scorer, you played those other roles that, are like, quote, role player roles, defense. I mean, you were sweeping floors at some points, and stuff like that. So, how much does that play a factor? Like when you're going and grabbing, like, the broom from or whatever, the Swiffer pad, I don't know what it is, but the thing that wipes off the sweat from the kids, like why do you do that? Is that a point of just, showing that like I'm here, I'm a team guy, like I'm here to work, like, when you're going that above and beyond, like what's behind that?
Well, backstory on the whole sweeping thing. We played in Vancouver, and a lot of times, you guys know, they have like, no disrespect, they have like kids sweeping the floor. Like, and like when my big body falls on the ground and slides 5 feet, there's a big gaping wet spot on the floor. So Vancouver, I fell, top of the key. We were playing in Vancouver against the Bandits early in the year. Maybe it was like the 3rd game of the year. I slipped. You'll watch. Go back and look. You'll see it. I fell. 2 plays later, we had Elam ending game winner. They tried to give me the ball in that play. I always get it top of the key. I cut out, slipped. I bent my knee all the way back, fell on top of it. Like, if I didn't have like ankle, knee, hip mobility, I would have tore my knee. But I do, so I didn't. And then after that moment, I was like, bro, if I fall on the ground, I'm sweeping it because these guys don't sweep the floor. Like, so it really, like, to be honest, it wasn't anything like going above and beyond. I just didn't want to get hurt and no one else to get hurt, honestly. And then as far as like the basketball, I honestly like surprised myself because I feel like the knocks are always there. Like, I feel like it's just synonymous with a scorer like me, a player like me. It's almost like, they just assume they don't want to guard. But, like, I mean, if you watched our games, I was guarding. Like, nobody was coming at me to try to, like, get the easy buckets. And as far as, like, getting steals and all that, that's just, like, I know the game. Like, I know where the ball's finna go, and I know if this guy's getting into me, I just gotta let his get off I just gotta let him not get off me. If I keep my body on his, I can get the ball. So those type of things, like, I just take pride in that. Like, if you look at my track record, the coaches I played for, Bob Huggins, Greg Marshall, Chris Jans, those are guys, you're not sniffing the court if you don't guard. I've been guarding for years, so, I mean, it's nice to get the recognition, I don't always, but I definitely appreciate you saying that because I feel like there's not a lot of people who do what I do in the world. Like, as far from every facet of the game, there's not a lot of people who are that well-rounded.
Well, you watch the NBA right now, though. I mean, it's the 3-and-D guys that every team is searching for. Every team at the trade deadline, they're looking for a guy that could shoot threes and play defense. And I mean, watching you this year, obviously you check both of those boxes. So clearly you think lots of opportunities are coming your way because, again, there's just such a demand for players with those skill sets right now.
Yeah. To me, like, the NBA, and they know this too, I promise you, it's a no-brainer about me playing there. Like, me having to play a role is easy. Like, you mean I just have to come in and get 12, 15? That's what you mean? Like, that's easy. So, that'll come. I'm not worried about it, pressed about it. I love basketball, so playing anywhere is a blessing, and getting paid well to do it is also a blessing. So I'm not looking at it. Like, I just feel like that time will come, and I'll be ready when it does.
It does seem like that too. Like, it feels like you're enjoying the journey. And I wanted to ask you that, but you kind of already touched on it, in terms of growth when you get this opportunity, because you're still playing professional basketball. Like, when you take away the NBA, label, like, you're still achieving your dream in that sense, right? But the other thing too, because Taylor and I talked about this, and Taylor, sorry if I'm stealing your question here, but like, your shot when you shoot, like I remember when I first started watching you play here, I thought like 5 different times off the top that your shot was getting tipped and it was nowhere near nowhere near the rim. And then it just kind of keeps going up and it drops in dead center.
Mm-hmm.
So I have two things about like, how if you've gotten a hard time from coaches with the mechanics of your shot. Let's start there. The mechanics of your shot. Like was that ever a thing that coaches were like giving you a hard time about, or was like, hey man, if it works, it works?
Well, there's only really one actual change I made throughout my whole life, and it was when I was like second, third, fourth grade. I was just like throwing it at the rim, just like two-handed. Cause like you guys see me play, like I play like a lot of skill and just like coordination. Like guys are in front of me, they're guarding me, but I know where to put the ball, just where to throw it, so it's gonna go in. And it's the same thing with shooting. And then one time I had a coach, he was like, "You need to stop shooting with two hands." Like he's like, "Shoot it like this. You're coordinated. Like it'll go in. Just go like this." And so he just told me, just do it like that. Like this is a guide hand, this is a shot hand. And I was in fourth grade at the time, so I could make the adjustment. And I just kind of adjusted from there. And luckily, like I said, it just off coordination, it just kind of flowed from there. And then as far as like the mechanics, like I don't know, it just goes in. So I never changed it.
That's
Okay,
fair.
yeah.
That's fair.
I also want to ask one more story, Taylor, and then you can have the next question. I just want to ask, like, on your foul shots too, like you've got a very specific routine that you go, where it's like, I think it's like the heart and then you touch the neck before you shoot. Like, what's the meaning behind your routine? It seems a little more than just like, the routine in terms of visualization and, keeping the same routine for your shot. Like, what goes behind that routine?
It's actually a ode to my mom. She passed away, and she was just big on free throws. She didn't know that much about basketball, but she just knew. She always would tell me, like, make your free throws. So kind of a little ode to her. Like, whenever she was getting sick when I was in high school, I just started doing the neck touch thing, and it just stuck with me. So whenever I shoot my free throws, I just always do that.
Awesome.
I wanted to ask you about the Teddy Buckets nickname.
Yeah.
When did it start? Did you like it off the hop? Do you still like it? How do you feel about it? But what's the story of Teddy Buckets?
Well, sophomore year, at the end of sophomore year, I moved to Nebraska, and I was going to like a boarding, kind of like boarding school, whatever. And I was just playing on the circuit, and one of the reporters was like, "Man, you're just relentless. Like every time you're trying to score it." So, and then he just started calling me Teddy Buckets when he saw me, and then he would write it, and then it kind of caught on. And then when I got to West Virginia, Huggins was calling me that, Bob Huggins. And then one game we played Trae Young at Oklahoma, and I had 22 as a freshman, and then ever since then I've been Teddy Buckets.
You definitely established the Teddy Buckets nickname in March Madness in your last year. Take us through that game, lighting up UConn, sending them packing round one when you were at New Mexico State.
I mean, it was just – in those opportunities, you guys saw it against Scarborough. In those opportunities when I just get a chance to stick it to somebody like they're like – and when I really get that chance, you don't get those opportunities that often, where it's like there's something here. It's not just like basketball, like which is fun anyway, but when you have something there to just mess with someone and like go at them, it's just fueling, it drives you. And it was UConn, it was a tournament, and I was like, man, I'm the best player in college basketball. Let me show them. And that's what I did. That team won the Natty this year, We sent them packing. That was the same team. They had their big man. They had Hawkins, who was riding the bench last year. They had Tyrese Martin, and they had Andre Jackson. Both of those cats got drafted. And those were all the guys who we were dogging. So it's just crazy. Like, that was just last year. And that's what I mean. Like, you guys talk about the NBA. They're drafting those guys. I gave them 40. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. One last thing before we get to target time. Teddy Buckets is also established in Winnipeg now. Like, there are a ton of signs, and I feel like that last game, that's about an NBA atmosphere when you have, 10,500 fans out there chanting MVP when you're on the line. I've seen T-shirts that were custom made. I've seen some that were professionally made. What was that experience like for you to kind of, be the man in this atmosphere, particularly where you kind of have that NBA atmosphere and that fanfare because it's a short season, man. This was realistically 10 or 11 home games this year, and to get that kind of love, and like this name Teddy Buckets Allen will long live in Winnipeg even if you're not coming back. So I guess to have that kind of impact, how did that feel? Do you take that in the moment, or do you reflect on it afterwards?
it's crazy like to say, but I'm really just like a forward thinker. Like obviously, like I'm so appreciative of Winnipeg. Everybody there, love it, and as long as I'm not having league contracts, I'm very open to going back. But like I just that's what I expect. Like I expect to be the best. Like that's how hard I work, and I always have. So when I get that, it of course it feels good, but it's like, what do I do next? Like when I play in front of Winnipeg again, like that's who they're going to be expecting, the MVP. So like it's just like, then that's what just fuels me, like continuous work. Like they only love you, and I'm not talking about Winnipeg fans. I'm just talking about in general. They only love you for what you're doing now. You know, like you go like I've never been one to just like rest on my laurels.
I knew you were different in a good way, like special. I think it was one of the first couple of games of the season you scored 30-something points at home, and I remember the post game, asking you, "Oh, like, did you feel like you were in the zone tonight, Teddy?" And you just so casually responded, "You're like, I always feel like I'm in the zone every day. I feel like this." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, this guy's a bona fide scorer." Maybe just kind of take us through that, how you just feel every time you step on the court that you're capable of scoring 30, and that's just another day at the office.
Man, it goes with the work, right? Like I'm in the gym, They always say proper preparation prevents poor performance, and I live by that. And not only that, I just believe in myself. Like, like what can you do? You want to go out there and you want to be soft and like step around and be like, oh, maybe I should shoot this, maybe I shouldn't, or you just want to go out there, balls to the wall and live with the results. If you do that, you'll be good. Like those type of guys who play like that, they win ball games. You know what I'm saying? Like, and guys who just, I call it like I don't know if I can say that. What do I say? I'll say prissy footing around. It's not good. Like that, and I just don't play like that. I just can't. I can't. I'm out there stepping. And that's how I play.
Yeah, prissy footing is my new favorite term. Ready for target time, Teddy?
Yeah, let's do it. Target score time.
For those who don't know, target time, basically rapid fire questions, just has a cool nickname. We're going to ask him 10 questions. Taylor and I are going to go back and forth. We're going to get quick answers, maybe a little context if warranted, but we'll try to get through these as fast as possible. Taylor, I'll let you take the reins this time.
All right, let's do it. So Teddy, also you have one of the best sports nicknames out there, Teddy Buckets, but in your opinion, what is your favorite all-time sports nickname?
Favorite all-time sports nickname? I mean, the captain's pretty cool. I like the Claw. I like the Claw.
That is a cool one.
It's kind of mysterious. Okay. The Claw.
So unique, too. So unique. All right. What was your favorite venue to play in outside of Winnipeg in the CEBL?
None. NA.
Was not expecting that. That's great.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, then we'll jump back to Winnipeg then. What's your favorite Winnipeg restaurant?
Ooh. They're going to hate me because it's going to be so basic, but it's fine. Either Joey's or Pump.
Nice.
Joey's Pump House, that's not a bad pick. That's a great
Joey's, great name.
Yeah, Joey's. What's wrong with Joey's? I can say every day.
There's nothing wrong with Joey's, right? All Joey's are great. I agree. Thank you, Teddy. All right, so if you were not a professional basketball player, which sport would you want to play professionally?
Which sport?
Doesn't mean you have to have experience either. Is there like, it could be a sport that you watch where you're like, man.
NFL quarterback, for sure.
Okay, why is that?
Because I got a cannon. You know I do too. I'll be like Cam Newton back there.
That's awesome. Teddy, also you have one or two tattoos, but what was the very first tattoo that you got?
Just a couple. My first one was this basketball tattoo. I don't know if you can see. Can you see it? There's a basketball tattoo on my shoulder. My first one. Yeah. Obviously, I'm a hooper. I was like 15, and I really wanted it, and it just came to my mind. Like I was just sitting there one night, and I was like, oh, that's gonna be my first tat. And obviously my mom was not going for that, so I had to call around, but I got someone to get me in.
Nice, right on. Awesome. So like a basement tattoo, or where's a 15-year-old? Yeah.
It's been touched up. It looked way worse than this. They used to look bad.
All right, so what city right now that does not currently have an NBA basketball team, which city do you think would make a great NBA city?
I mean, I don't want to say one that's so basic. Like everybody would say Seattle. I feel like they should give another one to Toronto.
Yeah?
Why not? Like,
2 in
everybody loves
Toronto.
Huh?
It's a 2 in Toronto.
Yeah, like,
wow.
be like New York, right? You got Brooklyn,
why not?
you got the Knicks. Yeah.
It's a big enough city. You know, all those places that have numerous professional teams are booming. So why not?
Yeah, no, and they've talked about a second
okay.
hockey team in the Toronto area as well, so that's not out of the realm of possibilities. I know, like Vancouver, a lot of people want Vancouver for sure for a second, like to come back, but I also thought Montreal would make a great basketball city too, because they're like Quebec fans.
Like another one in Canada. I'm not too familiar with like Vancouver and Montreal to like say, but I know they could get another one jumping to Toronto.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Who is, Teddy, the best defender in the CEBL? Who is the toughest guy to score against? I know you scored 30 points basically every night. Who is the toughest guy to get 30 points against?
Man, none of them can guard me. None of them. What do you mean? I'm saying no one.
I knew you were going to say that, so I figured I'd throw it out there anyways.
Just got to put it on the record.
None of them props.
I thought maybe there'd be one guy you'd give his flowers to, but okay. All right.
Listen. When you gave hey man, I respect people, man. And if they did this to me, I would let them say this. Every team in the CBL got 25 plus from me. None of them can guard me.
All right. That is
proof is
very
in the
very
pudding.
fair. All right, MJ or LeBron?
Brown.
Really?
No
I thought
hesitation.
you were going to be an MJ guy.
Listen, MJ is nice, like obviously, but like if we're talking basketball player to basketball player, it's really not. We know LeBron's a better basketball player than Mike Jordan. We know that. Come on.
Teddy, you were doing so well, Teddy. You were doing so well up until this moment. So well.
Hey man.
Teddy bringing the hot takes. I love it.
Hey man, if you dropped DeMar DeRozan in 1984, his career would look a lot different.
Okay.
Just telling you.
Yeah.
Just telling you. You dropped LeBron in 1984? Just telling you. I'm just telling you.
You know what?
Are you a Lakers fan though? Are you biased? Are you a Lakers fan?
I mean, I like Kobe. Like, I'm a Kobe guy, and I'm a LeBron guy, you know. So I root for the Lakers, but I'm not like a Lakers.
Okay.
Lakers.
All right.
I'm going to say this. That's actually the best, I think, argument to the LeBron James of just dropping him in 1984. I mean, I have my issues with it because it'd be a different, like, all the, training and stuff that was different from 1984 to now.
Yeah.
But that is, if you drop him in 94, that would be incredible.
It wouldn't be comparable. Like, there's a reason Mike came in the league averaging 34. There was nobody to guard him. Like,
True.
You don't just come in. Like, he's nice. He's a GOAT. Top 3 to me. Top 3 in my book. But give me Bron, Mike, then Kobe.
Okay. You know what, man? This could be a whole debate on its own. This is awesome. I wish this wasn't a Target Square question.
Anyway, do a podcast.
So, Teddy, I'm curious. In all your trips to Joey's, the restaurant, not Joey Slattery's place, did you get a chance to try honey dill sauce?
Oh, did I? That's fire. I love it.
Yeah, okay. I was going to ask you, what thoughts on honey dill sauce?
Canada knows how to do some aioli, some honey dill, and some yam fries, for sure. They know how to do that. But,
there you go.
When I go to Joey's, I'm like a burger guy. They have good burgers. I don't know why. I like it.
Seems
Nice.
like
I
a
ate a lot
place
of
that would have
burgers
good
this summer,
burgers.
I feel like.
Nice. My last question. What is it about water being poured on you that you don't like?
I mean, okay. Why are we pouring water on people for having a good game? Like, I have basketball shoes on. Like, the court is like, there's gonna be a puddle submerged on me, and I might try to run, and then I'll slip and it's dangerous. It's just like for what? Like, you're gonna pour water on me every time I play good? I'm gonna be wet all season. Like,
it could ruin suits. I was very, very thankful.
that's what I'm saying. My
running
guy
away.
has on the suit with the J's, and they're trying to dump a bucket on us. Come on, man.
Yeah,
Come
I'll
on.
be sending my dry cleaning bill and shoe cleaning bill to the Winnipeg Sea Bears.
Exactly. You're gonna have to send it to the Peg City Bears.
I think if you win a championship, though, all bets are off. Bring out the water, bring out the Gatorade.
No,
But any other game, though,
if we had EJ, it's over.
I was going to
We
ask
would've
that.
been there.
I was going to ask
We
that,
would've been
yeah.
there. I think we all know that, though.
Yeah, that was a tough loss, but I mean,
That's 20 and 10 walking out the door.
I also got to give, I that's a tough situation. I mean, to go play for your country, I think that's that's a tough timing. That's the tough part about this league.
I'm not mad. I don't hold it against him. I'm just saying, if we had my guy, we would win.
When you guys lost him, though, did you guys know in that moment, like, okay, yeah, we're not going on a run here, or you still have some hope?
I mean, to be honest, I was like, it's gonna be tough. Like, that was the whole season, second leading scorer. Like I said, that's like 18 and 7, 18 and 8. Like that's not just like something that you just boom, first game of the playoffs. Now you don't play with him.
Yeah.
We had our chances. We still could have won,
Why? And I said too, like, because Calgary, right? Like, so if you get through that Edmonton game and you have EJ, like, Simi Shitu was gone as well for Calgary. Mm-hmm. That guy caused a lot of trouble for you guys.
Without him.
Right? So it could have been a whole different thing. But that's all
it's
hypotheticals. Okay. Still a good season.
We'll get another shot at it, for sure.
Exactly. That, I'm pretty sure you asked all your questions, Ate?
Yep.
That concludes target score time and some. Teddy, man, that was so much fun. I thank you. I know you're out in Phoenix and you're getting ready for your next season, and you got your training going on. Appreciate the time for you coming on our podcast. Appreciated everything this year too. I know the fans loved watching you play. It was a pleasure to get to know you, cover your story, and of course, we would all love to see you come back to Winnipeg next year. But we wish you all the best in wherever this basketball journey takes you.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. This was fun. Thank you.
Man, I keep saying this, like, what a great interview with whoever, but man, Teddy brought the heat, man. Teddy buckets, and we failed. I'm just noticing this now. We forgot to let him know that this was a family reunion.
We did.
We didn't let him know that long lost, cousin 6 times removed Taylor out in Canada, got to cover his his little cousin Teddy. Yeah. Big cousin by size, little by age, but no,
that's okay. The next Allen family reunion, I'll see him there, and you can tag along, Joey, as well. You can join in, but I think
I'll bring my cousin Joey and all the burgers, and
there you go.
We'll have a
Teddy would love that.
Another potential sponsor, Joey's.
Yes, yeah.
It's in the
Girls, name. Joey, Santa Lucia. We've been dropping all the places in town on the pod, but. Teddy, though, what a fun guy. That was, like you just said, we say this every episode, basically, but man, that was a lot of fun, and he was really open about stuff, too, open about, why maybe he hasn't gone that NBA look yet, and, open about the thoughts on when they lost EJ. He was like, yeah, we knew we were, it was going to be tough after losing that guy. So yeah, really cool and refreshing to see him, how open he was and honest he was. And yeah, he's just a really easy guy to root for. I know you believe the same thing. Ton of fun watching him play and covering him all year long, getting to know him better and whatnot. He, if you're not familiar with his story, like do some digging. Like he's overcome a lot in his life to get where he is today. He's really inspiring stuff. So it'll be exciting to see where he takes his talents to in the fall and beyond.
I think he gets a look in the NBA. Like I do think it's a matter of time.
I hope so. Yeah.
It'd be nice to have another season in the CEBL though. It's fun to watch all year, and I know especially in Winnipeg they want to see him back. But we'll see how that pans out. But yeah, just another great interview, well deserving of the MVP. And if he does come back, and he's got not a lot to prove, but a lot to defend. And I know, the MVP doesn't mean much in terms of, I think he wants that CEBL Championship under his resume too. So no, that was awesome. Another great interview on Target Score Weekly. That concludes the end of the season. Not our season as the Target Score Weekly podcast, but it does conclude the CEBL season. The Scarborough Shooting Stars redeem their their very devastating exit last year with a championship this year. Congrats to them. Winnipeg finishes second in the Western Conference. Memorable season here with a ton of records set on the court, off the court, in the city. And I know we're looking forward to next season. Taylor, this has been a lot of fun, but we're not done, buddy. As we said, we've got that lifetime contract that you did not read the fine print on when you signed it. You're here for life, my friend.
I don't know how much people are going to want to hear us talking about basketball in our 90s, but hey, we can give it a shot, man. Let's go.
Old man yelling at the tree, buddy. That's going to be us.
I'm already an old man yelling at stuff, so like I already fit the bill. Yeah, man, we're just getting started. I know it's a long off season, but we got lots of stuff in the works, lots of stuff planned, so I'm excited to see where we can take this thing, man.
We will keep you covered, but until then, Tay, it's been a slice, buddy. Thank you for listening to the Target Score Weekly podcast. To stay up to date with Winnipeg Sea Bears and CEBL news, as well as future episode releases, follow Joey and Taylor on Twitter and Instagram at Taylor Allen 31 and at Joey Slattery CTV. And wherever you're getting the podcast, be sure to subscribe to never miss an episode.